from clickorlando.com and WKMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 5 p.m. Now at 5, Hurricane Helene continues to strengthen in the Caribbean tonight, and we have team coverage of how different communities are preparing for the storm. We're covered on both coasts. Eric Sandoval is in the Big Bend, Molly Reed is in Volusia County, and Laverne McGee and Catherine Silver are covering our inland counties, who will have some things to deal with as well. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. You're watching News 6 at 5. Meteorologist Julie Broughton is pinpointing the new models we just got in. Julie, we just got that 5 o'clock update. What is the latest?
Yeah, that just came in a couple of minutes ago. And as expected, Helene has gotten a little bit stronger. Maximum sustained winds now at 85 miles per hour. Previously, it was moving to the north-northwest. It is now taking that northerly jog and will eventually go to the northeast as it's moving into the Gulf. But a big change, and we've been talking about this throughout the day today, that we did think there was a possibility that it would become a Category 4 storm before making landfall. And now that 5 o'clock advisory has bumped up the strength by tomorrow afternoon to 130 miles per hour before it moves onshore in the Big Bend area and then continues to lift to the north. All of the factors are there for this just to continue to become a monster storm. We are talking about very warm water in the Gulf of Mexico, as well as light upper level winds. So it looks like we are going to continue to see rapid intensification. Now, we're already seeing our tropical moisture increasing across our area. Now, these are not actually rain bands that we're dealing with this afternoon, but we are seeing some pockets of heavy rain thanks to a strong onshore flow. And again, those moisture levels coming up. So as we go in a little bit closer from New Smyrna Beach south down toward Oak Hill, back down toward KSC, seeing some of that heavy rain. We can take you a little bit farther inland. Seminole County, a lot of heavy rain stretching from the Seminole County, Volusia County line all the way over to Longwood, Altamont Springs, seeing some of that as well. And as we pull a little bit wider and loop the radar for you, we can show you the general motion of these storms continuing again to move off to the north and east, or north and west rather, and quite a bit of lightning as well out there. Now, meteorologist Samara Kokinos is standing by, and Samara, we are talking about some rough county by county impacts for everyone in Central Florida.
That's right, and including the entire state, Julie. As we take a look here at the broad overview, you can see 64 out of 67 of our counties. So the only counties not included in a warning of some type at this point are Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties. So but I do anticipate that could change over the next 12 hours or so. So we'll keep an eye on that for you too. But pretty much the entire state going to feel some sort of impact. So as we break those impacts down here locally, you can see Marion, Lake, and Sumter County, 2 to 4 inches of rain. But if you are on that western side, I'm talking about west of I-75 or so, you could probably get up to 6 inches of rainfall at any given time, especially in slow-moving storms that will be training with that tropical moisture. Up to 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible, and a few tornadoes can't be ruled out as we head into tomorrow. The majority of this action is going to pick up tomorrow afternoon going into tomorrow evening as Helene makes its closest approach to Central Florida, which will be offshore as it heads to the Panhandle. But 1 to 3 inches of rainfall for Orange, Osceola, as well as Seminole County can't be ruled out, with isolated maximums up near 4 inches possible. Winds whipping around there and gusting up near 30 and 50 miles per hour, with isolated tornadoes possible too. Flagler, Volusia, and Brevard County, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall for you, with isolated maximums up near 4 inches. However, winds will be gusting up near the 45-mile-per-hour range, with isolated tornadoes possible there too. And then when we talk about your coastal concerns, we're talking about 8 to 10-foot breaking waves. There's going to be some possible beach erosion. Definitely some rough seas out there. So getting in the water, getting on the water in a boat, definitely not advised, with winds gusting up near 50 miles per hour. Tropical storm warnings still in place, and high rip current risks are definitely out there. We'll be back to break down your hour-by-hour outlook in terms of when the rain arrives and how long everything is going to last, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Samara and Julie, thank you. Our entire team of meteorologists will keep you up to date with all of the latest developments with Hurricane Helene on the News 6 Pinpoint Hurricane Tracker app. You can download that for free on the Google Play or Apple App Store. And the way things look right now, all of Central Florida will see some impacts from the storm.
But by far, the worst part is expected to be in the Big Bend area. That is why we sent News 6's Eric Sandoval to Perry, right there in the Big Bend. So, Eric, what are people doing to prepare for this storm?
Well, actually, Matt and Lisa, we've already seen some of the first bands of rain come through here. That's why my hair's still a little disheveled and a little wet. Before those bands hit, though, they pretty much spent the day making sure that they have a place to come back to work. This is Debbie's Jewelry Store right here on the main drag in downtown Perry. You can see they've already lined the sandbags here. They have boarded up all of the windows here, and it's pretty much the same up and down Main Street here. Here's why they did this. This hurricane will be the third major hurricane to hit this area in the last 13 months, and this one is really expected to pack a punch. All right, back out here in downtown Perry, you can see some of the few cars that are probably making their way home from work right now. We talked to fire rescue officials down the street earlier, and they say that they're hoping what they call small town stubbornness isn't going to set in. Basically, people refusing to leave. Because of that, an 8 o'clock curfew has been set up starting tonight. Of course, we're going to be riding out the storm until it's over and bringing you live coverage of it. For now, we are live in Taylor County in the Big Bend area of Florida. Eric Sandoval getting results. News 6, back to you.
Yeah, Eric, none of us need this right now, that's for sure. The hurricane has also impacted almost every school district all across Central Florida. All Central Florida school districts will be closed tomorrow, and Polk and Sumter counties will remain closed on Friday. Should any schools extend their closures, and for a list of what local colleges and universities are doing because of this storm, you can look for this article on clickorlando.com, and we will update it as soon as anything changes. Central Florida's western counties are under the biggest threats from Hurricane Helene.
That includes Sumter County, which is under a tropical storm warning tonight, and that is where we sent News 6's Laverne McGee today. So, Laverne, how are neighbors getting ready there?
Well, they're out and about. We've been here all day. We've been in Wildwood, the villages, and people are at the grocery store, the hardware store. They're really trying to make sure that they're prepared for this storm. Hopefully people won't need to go to those shelters, and hopefully they won't need to evacuate, but officials are saying you need to be prepared for anything. Reporting live in Sumter County, Laverne McGee, Getting Results, News 6.
Laverne, thank you. We know a common way a lot of people get ready for the storm is to grab some sandbags. There's a bunch of communities all across Central Florida handing them out tonight. We have a full breakdown of county by county where you can fill up your sandbags right now in this article on clickorlando.com. You can figure out which one's closest to you.
Our coverage of Hurricane Helene will continue right after the break.
And while we prepare our homes, power companies are also getting ready. Next at 5, how they're preparing to get the lights back on in the event of any outages as soon as possible. You're watching News 6 at 5. Getting results for you on this Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Launch Credit Union. Go beyond.
As a working mom of 2, I know how crucial it is to be ready for any type of weather. From sunny skies or a chance of rain, from tropical storms to hurricanes. So whether the sun's shining or the storms are rolling in, I'm here looking out for you, helping you start your day, staying ahead of the weather, and making your mornings a little brighter. I'm meteorologist Candace Campos. Let's tackle the day together, weekday mornings on News 6.
One of the biggest concerns when severe weather is nearby, we all worry about it, maybe losing power.
Earlier today, the governor said thousands of linemen are pouring into the state right now from across the country to help out once Helene hits.
That includes supporting our power companies like Duke Energy. News 6's Jarrell Baker was at their command center in Wildwood today. All right, time now to see what things are going to look like as we head into tomorrow. Meteorologist Julie Broughton is tackling it for us.
And we just got that 5 o'clock update, so if you haven't seen it, here it is. It does have one important change, and we've been talking about this throughout the day, that we thought Helene could strengthen into a Category 4 storm before making landfall tomorrow, and that is what the new track is indicating. So here are those 5 o'clock numbers for you. Right now, maximum sustained winds are at 85 miles per hour. Pressure's down just a little bit, and it is moving moving to the north at 12 miles per hour. So that northwesterly jog is gone. It's now going to the north, and we'll expect it to begin to move to the north and east. It's in the Gulf of Mexico over those warm waters where at some points in the Gulf it is 88 degrees. So that is basically like throwing jet fuel on this thing. By tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock, we're looking at 110 mile per hour winds. And then notice by tomorrow afternoon, the official forecast does bring those winds up to 130 miles per hour. That is a powerful Category 4 storm, taking it onshore as a Category 4 storm in the Big Bend area. And then it continues to weaken, dropping a lot of rain as it moves off to the north and kind of moves around with another area of low pressure. For us, we are all going to continue to see some effects of this, especially starting later tonight and through much of the day tomorrow. Here's a look at that tropical fuel we were talking about. Notice where you see these areas of red and dark red. That shows us where we are talking about extreme heat, again, which is going to help see rapid intensification of this system, especially through the overnight hours and into tomorrow. We've also been talking about the size of this storm. The National Hurricane Center, something I was reading earlier, said this is in the 90th percentile as far as size. So that means it is bigger than 90% of all the storms we've seen over the last 20 years. Measuring from this area all the way over here, we are talking about almost 1,000 miles wide. So again, we are to the east of the center of circulation, that front right quadrant where we typically see the roughest weather. A lot of people call that the dirty side of the storm. So that means all of us are under tropical storm warnings, with the exception of western Marion County. We're already sure increasing. Here's what it looks like on our Launch Credit Union camera. You can see very breezy out there. It is raining out there as well, sitting right now at 80 degrees. Gusts right now in Brevard County are at 22 miles per hour. And that onshore component to our winds is bringing a lot of rain onshore for us. Pockets of heavy rain. These aren't actually outer rain bands, but again, those are coming. Meteorologist Samara Kokinos is standing by for us. And Samara, that strong onshore flow really helping to bring some moisture in.
Absolutely. And we'll continue to see that moisture rise overnight going into tomorrow as the system inches closer and closer and eventually moving just offshore of our Gulf Coast. But when we look at wind speeds right now, they're anywhere between about 4 and 17 miles per hour sustained, and then gusting up near 37 miles per hour in Sanford. That's the strongest wind gust that we have here on the map right now. 30 mile per hour wind gusts in Titusville and about 19 mile per hour wind gusts in Melbourne and Mico. But come tomorrow, our wind speeds, where our wind gusts right now, are actually going to be our wind speeds. So when we talk about what we're going to be experiencing throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to see those winds really gusting up near 40 miles per hour, even 43 miles per hour by noon, okay? Then we move into the second half of the day going into the early evening. They ramp up and they get up near 60 miles per hour for areas near Ocala and the Villages, 53 near Leesburg. Notice the lower 50s areas to the east of that. But watch this, as I put it back in motion, notice that as the system gets closer and closer to, if you are on that western half where you're under that hurricane warning in Marion County from I-75 back to the west, you could see wind gusts up near 70, possibly even 75 miles per hour. So we're definitely going to be dealing with some squally weather, even the potential to see a few strong to severe thunderstorms. We're not talking about a whole bunch of widespread activity tonight, but tomorrow afternoon going into the evening, that's where we could see the majority of Central Florida dealing with a lot of squally weather. So let's go back over to meteorologist Julie Broughton for more.
And Samara, along with that squally weather, we will be talking about that risk of tornadoes. That is always a concern anytime we are dealing with a tropical system, especially a tropical system to our west. Here's our clouds and rain forecast. We stopped the clock for you at 10 o'clock, and we'll start to see some of that moisture surging into Central Florida. Already, we've seen some pockets of heavy rain, so that will be the case on and off throughout the evening hours. Then watch as we roll through the overnight hours, more of those outer rain bands lifting our way. So here is that center of circulation tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning, I think if you're along the coast, you could see some periods of heavy rain, and we'll see some breaks in this. So this isn't like a constant all-day thing, but we'll see those bands rotating through. And so through much of the afternoon, this is really when our threat for tornadoes will go up as that center gets a little bit closer to just being directly off to our west. And then as we take you through the evening hours, things do begin to calm down for us. We'll stop the clock for you at 10 o'clock. And notice still a lot of cloud cover hanging around and some showers, but I think by then the bulk bulk of this should be over, even though the moisture is going to hang around behind the system into the weekend. Now, here's your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your forecast brought to you by Napleton Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
90% chance of showers tomorrow with highs in the upper 80s, so we will be dealing with squally weather all day into the evening. Some moisture lingers behind that, with rain chances staying at 50 to 60% this weekend.
Julie, thank you. After the break, how Central Florida's theme parks are being impacted by Hurricane Helene. You're watching News 6 at 5. Getting results already. A little interesting out there on our coast. We'll be right back.
No matter what's happening where you live, trust Sky 6 to get you the bigger picture. Exclusively sponsored by attorney Dan Newland. Storm coverage all at your fingertips wherever you are. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegis will live stream the latest updates and tracks as they happen. Watch live on our News 6 apps, YouTube, News 6 Plus, or clickorlando.com.
Want News 6 straight to your inbox? Sign up for your favorite newsletter at clickorlando.com/newsletter. Sign up for In the Loop theme park scoops, Setting the Stage, and Florida Foodie, just to name a few. Sponsored by the Florida Lottery.
Despite the incoming storm, a lot of Central Florida's attractions are staying open, at least for now.
Yeah, Disney's Typhoon Lagoon, Universal's Volcano Bay will be closed tomorrow. So will Busch Gardens. Disney is also closing its golf courses and canceling Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party tomorrow. Right now, the other parks at Disney and Universal, SeaWorld, and Legoland are all staying open tomorrow. They're staying open. Kids are out of school. The weather could be a little ugly, though. Bring your poncho or just don't go at all. But a number of parks have policies to reschedule and refund your tickets if you don't want to go because of the storm. We put that info in this article on clickorlando.com.
You feel bad for the people who've traveled from around the world to visit the parks, spend all that money, and then this happens.
Not great.
Well, our coverage of Hurricane Helene continues after the break, including how communities not directly in the storm's path are preparing for its impacts.
And later, not all our stories are about the storm. Remember those speed cameras in the school zone in Eustis, the first ones in the state to go live earlier this year? Well, Eric Von Anken is following up again to see if they're getting results, protecting our community. That is ahead at 5:30. They were giving out a lot of tickets before. We'll check in on those numbers. We're getting results for you on News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
It's about making our neighborhood safer. Channel 6 has been instrumental in getting our story out there.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 5:30.
We are continuing to keep a close eye on Hurricane Helene as it continues to gain strength in the tropics. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
And I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5:30. That storm now expected to hit the Florida Panhandle tomorrow. Here are some of the biggest headlines from today's preparations. President Biden approved an emergency declaration for Florida this morning, authorizing FEMA to coordinate disaster relief once the storm hits. The governor also says there are thousands of linemen and first responders from across the country on standby. In Central Florida, Marion County is under a hurricane warning. The rest of our area, if you can see this, unless you're watching online, is under a tropical storm warning. All school districts in Central Florida will be closed tomorrow.
The storm's impact was already felt in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, with lightning flashes being seen during overnight storms and waves crashing onto the beaches early this morning. Meteorologist Julie Broughton is pinpointing the latest on the storm for us tonight. Julie, we do know it's getting stronger. I was with you in the newsroom earlier this morning when some rain came through, and I said, is this Helene already?
Yeah, and I said it's moisture beginning to increase, but that was because of an onshore flow. So the outer rain bands aren't actually here yet. But this is the very latest information for you. This is a satellite imagery, and probably the first thing you'll notice when you look at this is just the sheer size. We're talking about this thing is almost 1,000 miles wide. It is getting stronger. Here is the 5 o'clock update for you. Maximum sustained winds at that time, 85 miles per hour. It is moving to the north at 12 miles per hour. Here is a look at the track. One big difference to note for the 5 o'clock track, it now takes it up to a Category 4 storm by tomorrow afternoon with winds at 130 30 miles per hour before it moves on shore around 8 o'clock tomorrow night in the Big Bend area, and then still holding on to tropical storm status as it moves inland. So again, with the size of this, we're all going to be dealing with the impacts. Already we're seeing some gusty winds. We mentioned that strong onshore flow. This is our Daytona Toyota DeLand Kia camera in Daytona Beach. You can see the camera shaking there. You can see it is gray, so we are seeing the moisture levels coming up. That means rain. 83 degrees right now in Daytona Beach. Winds are coming in out of the southeast at 10 miles per hour, but gusting higher. With those strong onshore winds, that is pulling a lot of moisture up into central Florida. So you can see from Volusia County, from Daytona Beach down through Ponce Inlet, and then taking you inland over toward Deltona, back down towards Sanford, seeing some very heavy rain. Claremont, some light rain for you. If you're in the Villages, you're seeing some pockets of heavier rain. Also some heavier rain along I-75 in Marion County. Now, meteorologist Samara Kokinos is standing by for us right now, and we are all under some type of advisory tonight, Samara.
That's correct. So when we look at our local area, we're talking about part of Marion County, mainly from I-75 back to the west, you're under hurricane warning. Everywhere else under tropical storm warning. So that goes through late Thursday, folks. So right now we're already under these warnings. They are going to happen, but it's really going to be more of a tomorrow thing. So as we look at the flood watch, we already have one in place because we've had quite a bit of substantial rain this month. So when we look at the whole area already covered in this flood watch until 8 o'clock Friday morning, we could see anywhere between 3 to 6 inches of rainfall. And of course, with those slow moving storms that could train with those heavy tropical downpours, those could add up very quickly and cause some localized flooding. And then an overall thing would be the flood watch. So when we look at the timeline, we're talking about tonight. The tropical downpours will arrive later on tonight, but overnight squall lines begin to kind of spiral in a little bit. Winds really start to pick up as we head throughout the day on Thursday and could gust up near 60 and 70 miles per hour across our western zones by late Thursday night. By Thursday night going into Friday morning, I think we're still going to be dealing with strong thunderstorms with 40 and 50 mile per hour wind gusts associated with those boundaries as they move through. So we're not going to be out of the woodwork as we get closer to tomorrow. In fact, it's going to pick up as the day goes on and then continue through part of early Friday before we begin to see some relief. We'll be back with more information on what this rain looks like and when you can expect maybe a few thunderstorms in your area coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
Samara, Julie, thank you guys. Our entire team of meteorologists will keep you up to date with all the latest developments with Hurricane Helene on the News 6 Pinpoint Hurricane Tracker app. You can download it for free on the Google Play or Apple App Store right now. While the Florida Panhandle is expected to feel the brunt of this thing, Central Florida's inland communities are still going to feel the impact as well.
Yeah, and those impacts could be pretty strong. News 6's Catherine Silver joins us now live from Seminole County, where the situation is underway. It looks a little wet out there right now, Catherine.
It certainly is. Helene already bringing some rain our way, and it's only adding to all of the water we got from summer storms just a few weeks ago. People have been filling up sandbags to protect their homes and property. They say they're not taking any chances. And there's still time if you do need sandbags. This site at the Boom Bus Sports Complex closes at 8 o'clock tonight. We have a list of all 8 locations across Seminole County on our website. It's clickorlando.com. I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, getting results, News 6.
All right, Catherine, thank you. And although the storm is tracking along Florida's west coast, our east coast could still see some big impacts as far as wind, storm surge, and of course erosion.
It's odd. It always does seem to impact our east coast. West coast storms, even smaller storms, have wreaked havoc on the east coast the past several years. News 6's Molly Reed breaks down the concerns about erosion on our coast and explains how this storm could create some more problems.
And here is a live look at Daytona Beach right now, where it is already looking very rough.
Looking a mess already?
It looks dark out there. It's looking rough along the coast. We'll continue to update you on all the latest developments with Hurricane Helene on clickorlando.com. And we're still a good day away from the storm really getting closer to our area. Well, only on News 6 tonight, are those school zone speed cameras paying off and getting results? We've been telling you how the Eustis PD was the first in Florida to install them in front of an elementary school. And when the police chief turned them on in May, they did the opposite of what he expected. The number of $100 tickets soared. 1,300 were mailed out in just a matter of weeks.
The chief suspected that would reverse with enough time, so News 6 anchor Eric Von Anken gave it some time. Now he's following up to see if the cameras are getting results, protecting our community.
I'm biased as a mom of kids, school-age kids. I like the cameras.
Slow them down, give them tickets.
I wish they would have cameras at crosswalks too, and if you don't stop for a pedestrian,
or a crossing
you get
guard.
a picture in the mail.
So many people almost hit those crossing guards. They started it, but a lot of other districts are
now doing it, yeah. Well, we'll have another look at your forecast coming up for you right after this break. You're watching News 6 at 5:30. Getting results. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Good Greek Moving and Storage.
All right, meteorologist Julie Broughton standing by, watching that giant storm inch closer to Florida.
And it is moving pretty quickly, and it's also strengthening. So bottom line, we are all going to continue to see impacts, especially through the day tomorrow. This is the 5 o'clock update for you. As of 5 o'clock, maximum sustained winds at 85 miles per hour. We'll get an intermediate advisory at 8 o'clock and then another full advisory at 11 o'clock, which will include a new track. But on this path, we're looking at it continuing to move to the north and northeast. This is the big change, though. We are expecting now a Category 4 storm by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We've been talking about how we thought that could be a possibility. So now the official track does take it up to Category 4 strength as we head through the day tomorrow by 2 o'clock and then making landfall by tomorrow evening still as a Category 4 storm. Now here's a look as we take you again out and show you what's going on as far as that satellite imagery. Notice when you look at it how huge this entire system is. It is almost 1,000 miles wide. Just for a little perspective, 20 years ago when we were covering Francis, I remember we kept saying, oh, it's the size of Texas. That was about 400 miles wide. So this storm, Helene, about 1,000 miles wide. And one thing interesting to note is that the tropical storm force winds extend out 345 miles from the center of circulation. That is a huge wind field. It will continue to expand because remember, right now, winds are only 85 miles per hour. We're talking about a Category 4 storm by the time it makes landfall and by the time it's sitting to our west out over the Gulf of Mexico. So we are all looking, I saw some lightning out there, at the very least, tropical storm force winds. Already things going downhill for us. Strong onshore flow bringing a lot of that moisture. This is our Daytona Toyota DeLand Kia camera in Daytona Beach where we're sitting at 80 degrees. Can barely see on that camera, so much rain rolling in. Winds are coming in out of the southeast, but it is gusty everywhere. Let's go a little bit farther south. Look at our Launch Credit Union camera in Cape Canaveral where again very cloudy, rain moving in. Notice those trees. We are talking about gusty winds along the coast. Winds gusting in Brevard County right now up to about 25 miles per hour. Now here's a look at the radar, scanning out, finding some pockets of heavy rain. This is the rain we were just seeing in Daytona Beach and going down a little bit farther. All of these showers are continuing to move to the west and northwest for us, and we will continue to see those showers rolling through the evening hours. Now, meteorologist Samara Kokinos is standing by. And Samara, we do have advisories in place, and we are looking at things getting a little more rough as we head through the rest of the evening and certainly into tomorrow.
Absolutely. So when we take a broad look at the impact that it's having on the state of Florida, 64 counties out of 67 are under some type of warning tonight. And when we look back across the western panhandle, that's Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties. Those are the only ones not under a warning right now, but I have a feeling that that is likely to change. Meanwhile, back here at home along I-75 and back to the west in Marion County, you're under a hurricane warning. Everybody else is under a tropical storm warning. We're going to begin to feel those winds really pick up. So let's take a look here at this model, and we're actually going to go back to it real quick because I fast forwarded too quickly here. Notice that as we head into tomorrow morning, we'll start to see those winds really ramp up, especially by noon. We're already in the 40-mile-per-hour wind gust range. The second half of the day, that's when things continuously pick up. Notice how this system, the Helene, will be getting pretty much to its closest point here, but just parallel to us, staying offshore from us, headed to the Big Bend. But our winds are picking up and gusting up near 60 miles per hour in Marion and parts of northern Lake County. But we could even see up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Ocala, and especially areas back to the west of that I-75 corridor. Meanwhile, everybody else are seeing wind gusts in the 50-mile-per-hour range. We'll have winds sustained out of the south-southeast tomorrow, 20 to 40 miles per hour. These wind gusts will pick up throughout the day, especially with those squall lines moving through. Let's go back over to meteorologist Julie Broughton for more.
And we're also talking about that risk of tornadoes, even into the overnight hours with some of those rain bands, but certainly that risk of tornadoes will increase during the day tomorrow. This is our clouds and rain forecast. There's what we're thinking at 8 o'clock. Again, some pockets of heavy rain, which we're already seeing some pockets of heavy rain thanks to those strong winds bringing in all that moisture. We will see a little bit of a break at times overnight, stopping the clock at 2 o'clock in the morning. Some spotty showers, but notice as we roll through the day Thursday, 9 o'clock, we're talking about some rain in areas like Flagler County. And again, we'll see breaks between some of these rain bands. But look at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, really heavy rain stretching from Kissimmee all the way up through the Ocala National Forest up toward Gainesville. Those rain bands rotate through. We see a break. And then I think by Friday around 10 o'clock, things will look a lot better for us. Now, here's a look at your Pinpoint Accurate Forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
As we take you through the next 7 days, again, our chance of rain tomorrow is at 90%, so we will be dealing with squally weather throughout the day. Tropical storm force wind gusts at the very minimum just about everywhere, and we are looking at that risk of tornadoes through the day tomorrow increasing. We'll see some moisture hanging behind the system into the weekend with rain chances staying around 50 to 60%.
All right, Julie, thank you. After the break, the name, image, and likeness dispute catching the attention of college athletes nationwide.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Freedom Health Medicare Advantage plans.
As a trooper, I know how every crash is going to affect your commute. So watch me on News 6 Mornings.
Next, ET, Kristen Bell and Adam Brody's new TV collab giving major millennial energy.
Your shows, OC and Veronica Mars, you guys have been in a few projects
Veronica
together.
Cohen, we call her.
Next, ET.
Tonight at 7 on News 6.
Don't miss your favorite News 6 podcast, Florida Fourth Estate, Riff on This, Florida Foodie, and Real Talk Real Solutions. Listen when you want on clickorlando.com or download News 6 Plus to your smart TV to start listening now. Sponsored by Lexus of Orlando.
A college football team goes from a feel-good story to, whoops, a cautionary tale.
It was only a matter of time before something like this happened. The UNLV Runnin' Rebels are off to a 3-0 start, but last night their starting quarterback bailed on them. Sports director Jamie Say is here with the details.
Yeah, so guys, it all has to do with name, image, and likeness and a promise of paying players. You can bet college programs all over the country are paying attention to this story.
This is interesting because $100,000 in the grand scheme of things for them is not a lot of money.
But there is so much gray area when it comes to name, image, and likeness. Obviously, you know, UNLV could be correct. Who knows?
We'll be right back. They are not correct.
Debate continues.
That is a bad decision.
But I don't know.
Who's going to play for them?
Well, no, but